Good evening, Freddy Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, I want to discuss the interview with Majority Leader Tasha Diaz on the Yonkers Voice and also the Yonkers Public School budget meeting. We'll talk about that tonight.
Let's get it popping.
Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, the Majority Leader, head of the Education Committee, and the Yonkers Public School budget meeting. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today, I woke up in a good mood. I was like very excited. I don't know why. It was like good mood, great day. It's Friday and I'm in a good mood. And then I started to get the phone calls and text messages about a post and stuff that was written about me. And I was very upset at first. I'll be honest, it was just very disgusting allegations made against me. And so, at first that was my immediate reaction, and then I saw that my wife was also involved, which really got me going. And, then I spoke to my wife and she calmed me down because she said, don't worry about it. I don't care. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm going to keep on moving forward. And so that made me feel better. But what also made me feel better and got me in a much better place was all the amount of support, text messages on Facebook, comments, phone calls that I received from people in support. And even my wife got some calls in support of us and saying that this is horrible. We know you guys, this is not you. But more importantly, they also know how people are here in the city of Yonkers. So I was going to do a podcast tonight and kind of show what was posted about me. But I said, you know what? I'm not even going to give it life. I mean, the individual that's doing this is whacked out of his mind. I mean, he's made allegations from me having an affair with Lauren Cater I was going to put up a billboard attacking people, and now this. So I'm not going to give it any light. So what I do want to discuss is the interview today with Tasha Diaz, the Majority Leader, as well as the Yonkers Public Schools. And also because the individuals that are behind the article that was written today about me and my wife and others. And I want to send my apologies to London Reyes and his wife, Laura Reyes, who were thrown into this mess for absolutely no reason. Not sure why. But the individuals that put this guy behind this, up to this, I should say, funded him, I'm sure, gave him something, are also the people that fund the Majority Leader. And a lot of it's because of my podcast on the Majority Leader, as well as others, including the head of municipal housing authority here in the city of Yonkers, Wilson Kimball, and her husband, James Kavanaugh. Now, these individuals are all part of the same group, and I have been speaking about them, as well as the Nader Sage. And no, not all Sage people are related, and I spoke specifically about certain individuals. But I do want to go over the interview with Tasha Diaz because I think it's important. I think it's important that we understand who our elected officials are, what they've done, what they've accomplished. And she speaks about that. She speaks about her accomplishments. And that's actually one of the first questions that she's asked. And I want to just play that really quick and then discuss.
You start. You pick the accomplishment that you're more proud of. I know that you're proud of everything that you've done. But there is priorities. There is things that we say, okay, this is most priority, this is less priority. Like anything in life. When I make decisions of life, I make based on priority. What needs to come first?
Well, my first priority is and always has been a community. So all of the things that I've done thus far have been for the community. We just passed the budget. As you can see, I'm education chair for the city of Yonkers. We ensured collectively that Yonkers public school children got everything that they needed, wanted, and deserved. That's one of the accomplishments. We just saw on the news the food crisis. I made sure that the people in the city of Yonkers don't have to go through that. One of the accomplishments that I'm still proud of myself about is becoming majority leader. I'm still in my first tenure. That is something that's usually unheard of. A lot of people may not like it. but I got here because of the work that I've done thus far.
So she mentions her accomplishments, and her first and foremost priority is the community. She is the education chair, and she said that she made sure that the Yonkers Public School got everything they needed and wanted in the recent budget that was passed. And according to her, but not all people see it that way. In fact, the Corazon Pineda Isaac, a councilwoman who was a former majority leader, who also spoke more eloquently than the current majority leader, voted against the recent budget because she felt that it was not enough for the Yonkers Public Schools. There was not enough money there. There was not enough that they were asking for. So she voted against it, although it still passed because it was voted 6-1. So she also spoke about becoming the majority leader in her first term and how that was a big accomplishment and unheard of. And she managed to do that because of the hard work that she does. Well, that's not necessarily, what many people think, right? She actually got that, in many people's opinion, because of her flip-flop on the housing ordinance. If you remember last year, she was in favor of it, supporting the housing ordinance all the way until it was time to really get it done. And she voted no. She left people confused. People were upset. People were not sure why she would do that, what was going on. And then immediately people began to ask, well, what did she get for that, right? A lot of people who understand how politics works here in the city of Yonkers immediately wanted to know what was her compensation for that. And so then when it was announced that she would become the majority leader, that was the answer for many people. So again, many people believe that she got the title not because of the hard work. It is her first term. So why would she be named majority leader? And also John Rubo at the same time was now named the majority whip. And there was some infighting about that, which she does speak about, right? So I want to talk about the friction that's going on between city council members, according to Ruros.
For everything, there is a root. For every problem, there is a root cause of that problem.
Yes.
Okay? What do you think is the root cause of some friction? Because look, we all know that there is friction in the council ladder.
So the day I got elected to majority leader.
Exactly. So we all know it's not like a secret that the people don't know. I was there the day that you were elected a majority leader. I heard words.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I actually think I have them on record.
Yes, you did.
So there is friction. What is the root cause of that friction?
So he goes, so there is friction, because initially he had asked her if there was friction and she tried to say there was no friction, but then she admitted to the friction. And the reason for that is because she was named majority leader. That's what she feels, in her opinion. And I believe that may be true. And the reason why is because many in the council did not feel that she deserved it. Also, John Rubo wanted to be named majority leader. He was upset about that because he was also part of shooting down the housing ordinance and felt that he was entitled to it. So what they do, they named him the majority whip. And now these titles come with extra money. So it's a form of compensation for doing the dirty work of some individuals who wanted to see the housing ordinance, shot down. And the housing ordinance would have increased the affordable housing availability here in the city of Yonkers, because there is not only a county, but a national affordable housing crisis. So you can go to other states and still have trouble with housing. And Westchester County also did a report on the affordable housing crisis here in Yonkers and in Westchester County. So there was a need for it. There was a huge need for it. So she goes on to say that people attack her because, she's just doing her job and she's working hard and she's out there. And she says that other council members don't like her because of that. And yes, she might be out there, distributing food. But as a council member, is that truly your responsibility? She says that there's a food shortage. And because of her, Yonkers is not having to go through that food shortage, as if she is providing food for the entire city. Let it be very clear. The food that she says she distributes comes from an organization called Feeding Westchester. That's what they do. You can call them up and set up a food distribution with them. Any organization can. You can start a 501c3, give them a call, and set up a location. It's not that difficult. And there are many food distributions throughout the city. She's not the only one that's doing it. There are many food pantries, and this has been done way before the majority leader ever existed in this politics here in the city of Yonkers. And it's great. I was one of the first ones that was giving her props. I was bigging her up. I would go to some of the food distributions and film it. However, as I learned more about politics, and also after she killed the housing ordinance, I started to see a different Tasha Diaz. I started to see someone that's truly not out there for the people. She's out there to enrich herself like many other elected officials. And I'm not generalizing, I'm not saying all, but it's apparent by the actions of those who are in our city council now and the actions of Tasha Diaz when she killed the housing ordinance. That was for your people, for your community. So why did you kill that? I want to play another video here.
Need to look into that documentary. She's from the South Bronx.
Then she goes on to compare herself to some woman they made a documentary about, and two different people. I mean, you're not like the woman that was in the documentary La Madrina on Netflix, which I've actually seen. I've watched. It's about a woman who was in a gang back in the day, the Savage Skulls, I believe, who turned her life around. And yes, she did for her community, but she did not just stand there and watch volunteers hand out food. She actually put programs together, social programs for kids that were impoverished, primarily Black and Latinos. She got them organized, got them into classes, got them learning things that we need, that people in the community here are still asking for and say we need more of. And yet that's not what she's providing. She's simply standing there with Feeding Westchester as her volunteers distribute the food. Volunteers that she not mention and say thank you to. She says, I, me, me, me. Those are her words.
I want to thank them for allowing me to be able to do what I do. If they didn't vote me in, I would not be able to do this. I would have continued to do
That's
it
right.
in the capacity that I was. It was at a small capacity. But because of the voters, I am able to do it on a level where I'm able to express the love throughout the city. There was a couple of people that called Feeding Westchester and wrote some bogus letters about me. You know who you are. You know who you are. But it's sad that you try to take away from the community. If you don't need the food and it's not bothering you, why would you try to slight others? That is so demonic of you to try to do that. And when they made that call, they thought it was going to be a bad thing. But let me tell you something. Thank you. It turned into an awesome thing. And I'm going to tell you why. You made that call to Feeding Westchester. They came down to the site and they actually see what I do, what the mayor does with me, what constituent services, what Nader does, but the city of Yonkers. They actually have given us another site on Never.
So she mentions, elected officials, what they do. But again, she does not mention the volunteers that stand with her many times in the heat, because I've gone there and it's been hot days and she's standing there and the volunteers are behind the tables giving out the food. She didn't mention them, but she mentions Nader Sayage, another individual that is currently running for re-election against Mike Breen for assemblyman and a part of the Zahi Jerris team. That's who she belongs to as well. Not the nicest individual that you'll meet. And in fact, he's going to get her in a lot of trouble, I believe.
So thank you. The site on San Andreas that closed down, they let us run that and open that with Jose Alvarado. So thank you. And I mention these people because this is the way government is supposed to.
Again, Jose Alvarado, part of the team. And not that I want to go into Jose, but I'm just letting you know why she throws those names in there. There's a reason why. It's promoting, cross-branding, cross-promotion. She's promoting her team. Her team. She talks about a letter that was written to Feeding Westchester. Because again, that's actually the organization that is doing the food distributions. She is just someone that is a location person, I guess. Monitor the location. Thank you for monitoring one of our locations. Tasha, you work for Feeding Westchester. And someone complained because the food apparently was some of it was old or whatever. I don't know. But she goes on to name who the person was. I was like, I hope you don't think it was me, because not wasting my time doing that. But she actually does go on to name the person, and I want to show some of the comments that were made.
This one comes from Carolyn Elizabeth Marie. Voting down the affordable housing was unacceptable, especially when she could have made a true change for those in need. The food is not supplied from her. It is from a pantry. That is retail politics. We need affordable housing increasing desperately. Why won't she reintroduce the affordable housing ordinance with at least 5% increase? Something is better than absolutely nothing. Show us, don't tell us.
First and foremost, this Carolyn Marie that you refer to, this woman knows nothing about me. She's another one that knows nothing about me and has constantly attacked me for no apparent reason at all. I had one conversation with her. She asked about Chromebooks. I got the Chromebooks for the school. I never heard from her again. She is someone that is always on social media to attack people, but that's the person that needs to be out there in the forefront. If you can sit on social media and criticize and talk about what I'm not doing, let me ask you, what are you doing?
Actions, not words.
Exactly, because you talk about affordable housing, but in me talking to her and listening to the comments that she has left, she doesn't know about affordable housing.
I want to just stop there because she goes, Carolyn Marie, Elizabeth Marie is someone that's just on Facebook making comments. Why doesn't she go out there and actually do something for the community? And then Ruro's response, actions, not words. This is what I don't like about the man. Some people want to defend this guy. Go ahead. But right there, he should have said, well, actually, I was at a senior rally that Carolyn Elizabeth Marie helped organize for the Bernice Breckman Center that had been closed forever, and they had been fighting to get it open, the seniors. He was there videotaping it live. He was there with her. And in fact, he videotaped when Councilman John Rubel called Carolyn a scammer. After he said the comment, Rurose pulled her to the side and asked her, what did he mean by that? And she explained, and you can go watch that. He was there. So for him to say that actions, not words, it's just him being a liar and a supporter to the nonsense. And I hear that he has a GoFundMe page, or he's always asking for donations. But why? He makes money. According to him, his own words, this is his bread and butter, interviewing elected officials, because he gets paid for it. He gets paid handsomely for it. And he also gets paid for hit pieces along with Brian Harrah. She doesn't know what she's talking about because Carolyn Marie is out there, and I've seen her advocating for seniors and children and her community in general. And she's not making the $60-something thousand a year salary that Tasha Diaz makes for her part-time job. She doesn't get a car with free gas. She doesn't get funding and donations from organizations like Feeding Westchester. She has to go in her own pocket, take her own time, her own gas to drive seniors around to make appointments. That's what she does. And because she doesn't blast it all over the place does not mean she's not doing anything. And I'm going to defend her. I'm going to defend people from bullies because she talks about attacking people and how Carolyn just attacks people. Well, what do you think the majority leader does? What do you think she said?
Let's get it popping.
Who you think she was talking to? Who you think she was talking to when she said, oh, wrong one.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
Right? Who was she talking to when she was yelling that out? She was talking to another council person in the council chambers, attacking them. She has threatened to beat up council members. She has threatened business owners here in the city of Yonkers who I've spoken to directly. She's threatened to shut their businesses down for personal reasons, using her authority as an elected official to intimidate business owners, minority business owners in her community. So this is BS. And Ruros, you should be ashamed of yourself because you should have said something. You should have said, I see Carolyn Marie out there in the community. Now let's talk about what she said about affordable housing.
She has no clue. She's ranting on about something she is not educated on. And if she would call my office and sit down with me and stop listening to what she hears, I can formally educate her about affordable housing. And an instance about affordable housing, because that's the first thing that she always pulls up. She voted against, she voted against. Who said that I never was going to reintroduce that? If you introduce a law such as that, it has to be correct. The way the first law was introduced, I never got a seat at the table. That is number one. The people that elected me for District 3 elected me to get a seat at the table. When that was put together, I never got a seat at the table. From then, I was attacked. Flip-flops were thrown at me. There was a rally against me. Nobody never asked Tasha Diaz's side of why. Because that affordable housing ordinance that was written was fluff. It was nothing. It would have done nothing. 20% of what? As she just said, something is better than nothing. So if we would have voted 20%, the builders would have left and we would have gotten in nothing. So I'd rather give them something than nothing. You just answered your own question. Thank you very much, Carolyn Marie.
No.
But if you want to get educated when it comes to affordable housing, give me a call. And when you talk about food is not what I was elected for, I never said I got elected for food. But when people do get elected, when you're elected to lead the pack as a leader. I've led since day one. I got elected in 2019. I was doing and implementing things as councilwoman-elect. I was not sworn in yet. It seems as if I'm the one that's at attack because I'm the one doing the most work. What about the ones that don't do anything? I see no attacks on them. I just see attacks on everything I do. It seems as if because of where I come from, Carolyn Marie feels as if I shouldn't be in this capacity.
Here we go.
So she keeps attacking me, and that is wrong. That's a form of discrimination. What she's doing, she's discriminated against.
The race card.
She feels as if because I'm from the south side of Yonkers, that I don't deserve to be where I am now. And that is wrong of her. She came to a function that I held at School 13. Her child wanted to engage in the activities. Her as a mother pulled her child away and told her, no. How could you do that? I would never do that. You can't do that to children. How could people nowadays want to instill that kind of emotions into their children? Everything that we're going through right now, we still have people like that want to be demonic. People like that want to divide the city. People like that sit at home and criticize. I have not seen this woman. I couldn't even tell you what she looks like.
Lie.
She hasn't been out.
Well,
like Ruros tried to stop her. Ruros had to cut her right there because she got caught lying. She just said that she attended an event. She attended one of my events and she told a story about how Carolyn did not want to let her daughter engage in the activities. So she knew all about her being there and what was going on. And then she goes on and says, I can't even tell you what she looks like. I never seen the woman. What? This woman is a bold-faced liar. Now let's go back to the housing thing. She says, I was never giving a seat at the table. I was elected by my community, by the voters to get a seat at the table. That's number one. No, number one is the minute you were voted, you had a seat at the table. And if you felt that the housing orders, which you supported and supported, it wasn't like you got voted in and they asked you to vote for it the next day. You supported it for months. You could have said, hey, I want to look at it. Before I even say I'm going to support it, can I take a look at it to see if it's what my people need, my voters need, my constituents need? That's getting a seat at the table. You don't wait to be asked to sit down. You voted in, you go to work. She says that Carolyn Marie doesn't know the difference between affordable housing. No, she doesn't know the difference between affordable housing because the affordable housing ordinance did not have to do with low-income housing. It did not have to do with privately owned affordable housing. It had to do with affordable housing for just rental people who met the requirements of income, had jobs, but they didn't make enough, who were renting, not owning. And low income is for individuals who don't have jobs, who get, different programs. So she confused that because she said she voted no because they didn't include all these people. However, the housing ordinance was not for all the different housing issues, or it wasn't for low-income housing. But that's what she said was the reason why she voted no, because it didn't include that. So she didn't know the difference. She didn't know what she was talking about. We know why you voted no. You got the majority leader. The developers that she's seen with more than her constituents, the developers that attend her events, not her constituents, wanted her to vote no on the housing. She says that they would have left. That's a lie. This has been in the plans for 20-something years. You think that they're going to turn around and say, oh, well, we can't do 20%, so we're going to leave? No way. This is prime real estate. If they didn't want to do it, someone else was going to come and do it. But the reason they couldn't give 20% was because they are having to feed other people. And when you have a lot of hands in the pot, you cannot give up. You can't give too much out. You can't give this out. You can't give that concession because you got to feed other people. And that's the issue. So what that did was it reduced the amount of affordable housing that will be in the new developments, the luxury developments, instead forcing more people to have to be in areas that are high crime, like Nodine Hill and Ashburton, where sometimes it's like Night of the Living Dead over there. You got walkers through there. And you have to live there because guess what? There's not enough affordable housing units in the luxury rentals, and they're only taking the top of the AMI. So, I mean, that's BS. And then she attacks the woman's daughter. This is another thing that these individuals do. They bring up people that have nothing to do with politics. Anyone I've ever mentioned, even if it was a wife, husband, is involved in politics. Even if it's a son, like Frankie Jarris, he's involved in politics. His name is on political advertisements for people like Judge Ada Medina and others. They are influential. They dictate how these individuals like Tasha Diaz vote. And it's a fact, folks. It's a fact. They're not voting with your best interest. She has to vote for the interest of the people that give her money, those that contribute to her campaigns. She's doing fundraisers for $500, $1,000. How many people in District 3 are going to go for that? How many? How many? And I know a lot of people in other districts that ain't going to pay that, whether it be District 6-5 or whatever, because that's a lot of money just to go to some fancy event to be around the same social elite, same group of individuals. So to talk about her daughter who has nothing to do with nothing and to bring up her parenting skills, when she's never talked about her parenting skills. She's only talked about how she is as an elected official, which is not very effective unless all you care about is food donations. Because at the end of this entire interview, the only accomplishment that I can gather she did or got completed or whatever was food distribution. That's not her job, folks. While it's great and it's appreciated, but you're not doing your real job. You're responsible for things like the affordable housing ordinance. You're responsible for the budget and to assure that the schools do have enough. And to assure that your constituents have affordable housing, which is a huge need if you just go through her neighborhood or through her district. That's her job. And she says, well, how do you know I'm not going to reintroduce? Because you have not reintroduced anything yet. Are you waiting for the developments to go up? Yeah, that's what they're doing. Let them go up first, and then we'll pass a new housing ordinance. But at that point, they would have already been built. That's the strategy. If she was honest and genuine about what she's saying, she would have had a housing ordinance to include everyone she says was not being included. And that's yet to be done. But what about the affordable housing? Yeah, that's what it's about. That's right. It was all Carolyn Elizabeth Marie. Absolutely. So for her to say that she's not out in the community and that she's just on Facebook, and for Ruros not to say, well, no, she's actually out there, because I've been to rallies and stuff that she's done, and I've videotaped it live. And that's why I tell people who this guy really is. He gets paid to do what he does. He's not doing it because he's a good man. And I'm not knocking his hustle, but I'm saying he's doing what he's doing to make money. That's absolutely horrible. That's all lies. Yeah. I think Yonkers needs to do better with electing. She's not very professional. Absolutely. Absolutely. Not at all. She's the education chair. I mean, the education chair? And we wonder why, schools are probably not, I mean, come on. And I'm saying, and so, I wanted to talk about, sorry, 30 minutes. I want to talk about the Yonkers Public Schools also, because she is the education chair.
Councilwoman
that we are trying to bring back with children.
Oh, I do want to play this part.
Made an open invitation.
Yeah, she made an open invitation for you, Carolyn. Let's go meet with her office. Let's talk about the housing ordinance. Let's get
The
educated.
attacks need to stop. The attacks need to stop. From a woman to a woman. If you're a grown woman, as I am with children, stop it. Because everything you're doing and you're attacking, your children see this. Other people's children see this. You're instilling hate within a community that we are trying to bring back together. That is not right. You want to tear me down for a vote that I took that you have no knowledge of. Come down. Sit down. You keep bragging that I live in affordable housing. Yes, I do, but it's two different forms of affordable. It's more than two different forms of affordable housing. It's different forms of affordable housing. You have low-income housing, you have affordable housing, and you have privately owned affordable housing. These are things that you are not educated on, Miss Carolyn Marie. And to try to stop the food program, it was you that wrote the letter. Let's get it popping. That was wrong of you to do that. Why would you do that to the city of Yonkers? Why would you do that to the people that you keep coming on threads and saying that you care so much about? Why are you not out there with me with blood, sweat, and tears when I'm out there 5 hours? I'm unpacking trucks. I'm not sitting there telling people what to do. I'm actually picking up boxes. And when the food distribution is over, just to let you know, my job is not done. I'm delivering to about 9, 10 o'clock at night. But these are things that you don't know and you don't see. But you keep constantly attacking me.
But you know what? I do know and I do see. Because
you don't know and you don't see. Okay, Ruros? You don't know and you don't see. She's talking about why all the attacks. You're attacking, and all you do is attack. And you're demonic. And you're dividing the community. Again.
Let's get it popping.
You are attacking other officials and people in the community. There's videos of you threatening constituents. Threatening to call the cops on people, threatening to call the cops on DACA recipients, Hispanic members, Latinos who received DACA or in the DACA program. If they have any police contact, they can lose their DACA status and get deported because they were protesting and rallying and she didn't like it. Yeah, to the Latino community, to those who are DACA recipients or have family members and friends, she was going to call the cops on them for voicing their opinion and speaking out. That's what they do. You see what happened to me. But I can take it on the chin. Not a lot of people can. And that's why I'm here doing basement politics. And I hope you understand why. I got all positive comments, maybe one, maybe two. I guess they didn't understand clearly why I was saying anything about Ruros. Well, I want to be very clear on that before I let it go. I have a business. Well, I'm trying to establish a daycare center. I'm almost going on 2 years. November will be 2 years, and I've yet to get open because of issues with the building department. The individual you see there, Ruros, came to me one day and said, I just want to let you know I was considering creating an article about you to hurt your business. Brian Hara and I were going to write an article about you to hurt your daycare business. We were approached by elected officials. Now, listen, I've been told, Freddy, you shouldn't say that. I'm not saying that I, know for a fact. Well, actually I do because he told me. Other than he told me. I'm saying that I'm quoting the Yonkers voice, Mr. Ben Ruros, Rui Ben Rose. He said, elected officials approached me and Brian to write a hit piece about you. That's what they call it, to hurt your business. However, after thinking about it, I decided against it. That's what he said. We then met at Paxos and talked about it again. Said the same thing. And now we have the hit piece. Brian Hurrah wrote it. So what am I to think? What am I to think, Yonkers? If this individual, Yonkers Voice, who is sitting there with the majority leader and does interviews with other elected officials, he's paid for them, even though he asks people for donations in order to keep him going. He gets paid $900, $1,200 per interview, and he's told me this is his bread and butter. So he has a reach of 500,000 people. He says, I was considering writing a hit piece to hurt your business, a childcare business, but I decided not to. I was told by elected official, they approached me to do it. And now I got a hit piece on me that's trying to affect my daycare business. What am I to think? What would you think? I'm Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. I'm here for the people. I'm not going to go anywhere. It's not going to stop me. Your lies are not going to stop me. Ultimately, you have the things to hide. I do not. Which is why I don't understand why you would do such a thing. It's not very smart. And it's only going to cause me to continue doing what I'm doing. And the comments that I got from people and the calls and text messages and everything else, I appreciate it. You guys made me feel better. And it just lets me know that I'm doing the right thing. I'm Freddy Vasquez. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. She's embarrassing, Yonkers. Absolutely. Absolutely. What? Vinny Spano delivered the ZD to Ben and Brian. Can you prove that? I would love the proof. Ben and Brian are whores who will do anything for $1,000. That's absolutely right, especially when you have financial troubles like they do. I saw the financial issues they were having. They had a lot of people that they owed money to. So when you're in that situation, sure, you're going to do anything for money. You're going to whore yourself out. In the end, as Mr. Yonkers' voice says, actions, not words. I'm Freddy Vasquez, Basement Politics. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your support, people. I appreciate it. Again, Yonkers, I love you, but I do this because I care. Join me tomorrow where I'll finish up and I'll discuss the Yonkers Public Schools because I want to go over that meeting. That budget meeting is very important. Some details, some statistics there that I want to go over and discuss. I'll do that tomorrow. Thank you, folks. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Let's get it popping.
I am Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Once again, we're not going to stop. I'm going to continue the show. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the comments. Thank you to some parents, actually, that have reached out to my wife, whose kids have improved tremendously under the care of my wife, under the guidance of my wife, under the therapy of my wife. And they called, so they saw it, they discussed it. And in fact, they're leaving messages to tell Brian, hey, you're going to get sued, buddy. I know who these people are. You're absolutely wrong. And I have the proof. My child is doing so much better. Thank you to the parent who did that. I appreciate it. And in fact, that's the only comment on that stupid post. I'm Freddy Vasquez. Have a great night.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were. Like I said, political games that are being played. You could have. I was raised in housing. I don't think you were. I went to Yonkers Public Schools. I don't think you did. We can go on all night with this, honey.
In another one, Mr. Rubo lied to me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
Freddy.
You hear that, Zahi Jerris?
Fatality.
Hey, Jeffrey Sayers, how you doing, buddy? I hear you saying I'm public enemy number one. One.
1-1.
Freddy wins.
Yeah, I definitely.
Fatality.
No!